This circle marks the spot where a couple hours earlier a suspected Islamic militant blew himself up among a group of police. 23 people died here. As news spread, the families of those killed were devastated. Pakistanis haven't experienced suicide bombings in their cities until recently. Last year, there were 60 bombings like this one. At the hospital, policeman Mohammed Hafiz was lucky enough only to be wounded. Like the government, he was quick to blame Islamic extremists from Pakistan's northwest border with Afghanistan for the bombing, but he questioned their cause.
What person who done it, he is not Muslim, he can't be Muslim, because a Muslim cannot do it.
But the resurgent Taliban, believed to be behind this and other bombings, are trying to destabilize Pakistan in the name of Islam. The religion has always been an important force in Pakistani politics and continues to influence the debate here, mostly through peaceful means, but also increasingly through attacks like this one. Just a couple hours north of the capital, on Pakistan's modern highways, lies the northwest frontier province. These mountains mark the autonomous tribal region and the Afghan border, the area where militants linked to the current spate of bombings are from. This area is also notorious for its conservative madrasas, which spawned the Taliban movement. Although attempts have been made to reform the curriculum, they are still functioning, teaching young boys to memorize the Quran. There's a madrasa in nearly every village here, and in these villages, an austere version of Islam is practiced. Women are rarely seen, and when they are, they're in burqas. Culturally, it's more like Afghanistan than the rest of Pakistan.
Particularly in this region, Islam is very much important. People are ready to give sacrifice for the implementation of Islam.
Islam dictates every aspect of Muhammad Ishaq's life, not only his prayer schedule, but also his politics. His reasons for disliking President Musharraf have nothing to do with restricting democracy or interfering with the judiciary. He hates him because he believes the president is not a good Muslim.
My first reservation is about his vision for women. Islam has given a more respectful place to the woman. There should be within the four confinements of the wall of their homes, and the men should work outside.
Ishaq spends his days with other men of the village. When they heard an American journalist was in town, police showed up as a precaution. The Taliban has been spreading its reach from the tribal areas on the border further inland and are active all around this area. And for good reason. This is friendly territory. Although Ishaq does not advocate violence to achieve it, he says he agrees with what the Taliban wants, a state with strict Islamic laws.
Neither me nor the Taliban are terrorists. It's just a propaganda.
In most of Pakistan, like in this market in Islamabad, a more moderate form of Islam prevails. The majority of Pakistanis are similar to Muhammad Ishaq. His beard suggests that he is a devout Muslim, but when it comes to politics, his views would sound familiar to most Americans.
Religion and politics, two different things.
In the upcoming election, Ishaq plans to vote for one of the mainstream secular political parties and keep his religion in his private life.
Islam is just for Allah.
The upcoming elections have been a long time coming, and past elections have been rigged. During this time, militant Islam has grown in Pakistan.
When you have a military rule, the political parties are suppressed. And when the political parties are suppressed, then there is no space for them. And the only space that is there is, through the mosque and the mullah. And so what happens is that the mullah then really, and the militants, become very powerful.
अगर आप खुद अपनी मईशत और माश में से और माशरत में से गैर इस्लामी चीज़ें नहीं निकालते और अल्लाह से दुआ करते तो आपकी दुआ अल्लाह नहीं सुनेगा.
Dr. Israr Ahmed is fed up with both military rule and democracy. He preaches for a revolution, an Islamic revolution, similar to what happened in Iran in 1979. He is
opposed to the modern concept of democracy because that is based on popular sovereignty, and Islam is based on sovereignty of God.
He supports an Islamic State with laws similar to those of the Taliban in Afghanistan, with public executions and other punishments taken directly from the Quran.
When a few hands are chopped off, when a theft goes away from the society.
He says that 9/11 was an Israeli conspiracy, and although he does not support violence to achieve his Islamic revolution, he rationalizes the increase of suicide bombings in the last year this way.
Whatever is happening today in the forms of the suicide bombings, etc., etc., it's a sign and expression of anger. What have you done to us? What America did to the Taliban government? What did the Taliban do harm to America? सूरत हाल जिस दर्जे बिगड़ रही है, चंद साल पहले मैं वार्न किया करता था कि होश में आ जाओ, तबाही की तरफ जा रहे हो.
Ahmed says that the current crisis, the protests, the suicide bombings, are proof that the only acceptable form of government for Pakistan is strictly an Islamic one.
किसी ने मेरी बात नहीं सुनी. आज अपनी आंखों से देख रहे हैं क्या हो रहा है.
Outside Ahmed's mosque, worshippers browsed a selection of books. Most books were purely religious. One was about Larry King. Others offered political advice. There are fears in the West that an Islamic takeover is looming in Pakistan. Most people here say that that's not possible in the short term because the Islamic groups are so fragmented. Isra Ahmed's political influence is marginal at best. The Taliban's brand of Islam isn't likely to spread outside the Pashtun-dominated Northwest Frontier province, even if their bombing campaign does. Still, the conditions are ripe for the growth of radical Islam.
The conditions in the country are such that the military continues to stay in power. Then I think I wouldn't be surprised after 5-10 years. Then the militants will become very powerful.
Back in Northwest Frontier Province, the campaign is in full swing. Maulana Shuja-ul-Muluk is stumping for the JUI, a fundamentalist Islamic party believed to be aligned with the Taliban. Using rhetoric appealing to this region's conservative Islam, the JUI captured enough votes in 2002 to gain control of 2 of Pakistan's 4 provincial assemblies, including the Northwest Frontier Province. Unlike militant groups who want to force Islamic law, or Isra Ahmed, who sees democracy as a Western import, Shuja-ul-Muluk views elections as the ideal way to bring his version of Islamic governance to Pakistan.
As people think that the democracy is un-Islamic, it is not. Islam has a lot of flexibility. We are political people.
But once elected, political people must produce results to get re-elected. And people here complain that in the 5 years the JUI has been in parliament, they have not been able to push through their Islamic agenda. Polls show that the JUI will receive just a fraction of the support it had in the last election.